Run like lightning, move coordinated at high speed, and react quickly. Now and even when you are older. You can get all of this if you start doing speed training as well. Of course, you need to born to be an Olympic champion sprinter because it's highly genetically determined. But as a hobby athlete, you can still get a lot of benefits, positive effects if you start practicing speed exercises as well. Stay with me in this video and I'll show you the simplest and most effective exercises, training methods to gain speed. Bring out the lion that sleeps within you. Hi, my name is Mihály Sáfrán. I came from Hungary. For more than 20 years, I was a professional athlete in the canoe sport, and in the last 10 years, I switched to a more generalist way of fitness. And the important part of my training now is the speed, next to the strength development, movement skill practice, and endurance. I was never the fastest guy. I'm more a middle distance runner type of athlete. I don't have a serious goal with the speed training, only to improve a little bit myself and explore my untapped potential. I started speed training over 35 years old and 1-2 times in a week, and I noticed many benefits on my body and performance. Speed training is one of the most enjoyable form of training for me. After I always feel more energized and more alive. First of all, what is speed? Speed means the execution of reactions, motions, movements in the fastest possible time under given conditions. Speed is one of the 3 big and main fitness skills next to the strength and endurance. And of course, many sports are mixed methods where you need all of them in different ratios. The reaction time, the speed of movements, the frequency of movements are relatively independent of each other, but in real life they usually appear together in a complex way, and they are also linked to the specific sport technique. Development of the speed means developing the nervous system, muscle connection, coordination, efficiency, which is highly determined by genetics. But the good news is that most people have a huge untapped potential in the speed development, so within your range you can still improve for sure. Probably the most important approach to look at the speed if we think about the muscle fiber types. To make it simple, we have slow twitch muscle fiber types, which are very resistant. They are good for endurance, running, performance, but they generate not so big force. We also have fast twitch muscle fibers, and they can generate much more force relatively quickly, but they get tired also quickly. With the speed training, we should always target these fast twitch muscle fibers. And the ratio between muscle fibers is highly determined by genetics. That's why some people are more born to be endurance runners, or other people are born to be sprinters, or something in the middle. But this slow and fast fiber ratio is not fixed forever. With proper smart training, you can shift to this or that direction for a certain extent. And the good news is that everybody has some fast twitch muscle fibers, regardless of the age and the gender. Think about a situation when there is the last seat on the bus or a subway. Usually the older grandmas are winning this competition for the last seat. Or for sure it happened with everyone when you had to run 50-100 meters to catch the bus. You find your inner lion and Olympic champion sprinter, and you could reach the bus. To understand better the speed training and the relationship between the speed and the force, I'll bring you this graph today. Of course, this is a simplified force velocity curve. There are much more details, but for us as a hobby athletes, I think it's enough right now. There are movements where you generate a lot of force, but the movement is relatively slow. Think about the powerlifting exercises, the squat, bench press, deadlift, where the athletes are lifting super heavy weights, but the movement is kind of slow. And the other extreme are the sprint, running, or the jumps, where you are working with your own body weight. Resistance is kind of light, not so big force, but the muscle contraction is super fast. And somewhere in the middle are the Olympic weightlifting exercises, for example, where you lift a heavy weight, but not the heaviest on the planet, but you move this weight very rapidly. Why to get faster? Because it's a good feeling, it's fun, it's a pure expression of your power, and it's good to experience your maximal speed. And you can react faster, your brain can work more quickly, making faster decisions. You can coordinate your whole body better on a high speed. You can change direction quickly and more precisely. And as I mentioned before, it's a high chance you will always reach the bus and you will always have a seat. And the most important practical everyday life applications being fast is that you can avoid many serious injuries if you can react quickly and coordinate your body fast in an unexpected situation when you are falling. So you can save weeks and months of recovery from a serious injury from a simple fall. In addition to all of this, most of elite athletes, even the endurance athletes, they practice speed training. They benefit in their coordination and movement technique. Usually they use this before competitions, this tapering period. How to get faster? Good news is there are plenty of methods for speed development. As a hobby athlete, you can pick a few of them, and most of them can work. But as a professional competitive athlete, it's a very complex topic, and you need to plan carefully the whole year programming if you want to develop certain aspects of the speed for each individual. I call the speed training as the sport of the lazy people, because you always need just a few seconds of high intensity effort and then you can rest for minutes. And also between training days it's worth to rest a few days. That's why I mentioned in the beginning the example of a lion. A lion is also sprinting a few seconds or maximum 1 minute and then is resting hours and even days. In general, in the speed training, it's important to always try to execute the movements with close to maximal intensity, above the 90%, and reach your actual highest speed in the movement. This way you will train this skill. Which exercises to use in the speed training? Usually they fit in the 3 main group of the natural movements and in the athletics. These are the running, the jumping and throwing. If we take the running, of course it means the fast running or sprints, where you run above your 90% intensity for a very short period of time or distance. Let's say it can work even from 10-20 meters to 60-100 meters or slightly longer. After one set of high intensity sprint, you need plenty of rest period. There is a rule of thumb in this training method that after each 10 meters you need 1 minute rest. In an ideal world, you need to rest so much to be ready for the next set with your full power. You can make sure your fast twitch muscle fibers are ready for the next exertion. The next big category is the big family of jumps. You can jump on one leg, two leg. You can do skips, bounces, or bigger jumps. You can jump vertical, you can jump horizontal, broad jumps for distance. You can jump on the side. You can use also the jumping rope. Actually, this is a very simple and useful speed development method for a certain extent, of course. You can improve your coordination and your springs. Or if you use weights for the jump, one of the best exercises is the jump squats. It's correlated to higher sprint speed in some studies. Or the more advanced jumping exercises are the so-called plyometric exercises. Usually they are more advanced methods after you gain some strength and your joints, ligaments can handle this higher force at the impact. But you can also start lighter resistance plyometrics like the pogo jumps or using the jumping rope for higher repetition. So this way you can condition your muscles and joints. And if we talk about the throwing movements, you can use lighter weight tennis balls or a little bit higher weight balls to throw as fast as possible. You can also use the few kilogram heavy mat balls, throwing with different techniques but with maximal intention to generate speed. And the other important aspect of the throwing is the catching. They are also cool speed development exercises if you have a partner or you are training in a team. You need to be able to catch and decelerate the fast moving object. I like, for example, this very simple game when you have a partner standing in front of you. You have one or two tennis balls and one person is releasing, dropping one or two balls, and the other person waiting in this position, and you need to catch very fast, or even both. Okay, the next method to gain some speed, if you get stronger, if you build maximal strength, you also build your fast twitch muscle fibers and they work more efficiently. So from this you can already gain some speed, of course, until a certain extent. Otherwise, the strongest people on the world, the strongmen and the powerlifters, would run the fastest, but this is not the case. Of course, they are stronger than the world-class sprinters, but they cannot run as fast. One reason is their body weight, but also for getting fast you need to practice a lot of high-speed training. What are the best strength exercises to gain strength for speed? Usually they are these common compound movements like the squat variations, deadlifts, especially the Romanian deadlift, bench press, and bodyweight calisthenics exercises can work as well, where you build your relative strength. In the squat and deadlift, it's worth to practice unilateral single leg exercises because the running is also unilateral movement by each step. Other useful gym exercises, if it's available, to push a heavy sled with maximal speed intention, doing the Romanian deadlift as I mentioned, or the hip thrust exercise to developing the glutes, or you can use kettlebells. There are many cool ballistic dynamic exercises. I'd like to mention also probably the heaviest body weight leg exercise is the Nordic hamstring curl. If you have strong hamstrings, it's good for sprinting speed, and you can avoid hamstring tears injuries if this part is strong. The next popular method to develop speed, explosivity, is the big group of Olympic weightlifting exercises. The two basics are the snatch and the clean and jerk. Usually these exercises have high technical demand, difficult to learn, takes time to master them. But the good news is for speed development, you can also use the simplified version of them, where you practice only some parts of the full complex snatch or clean and jerk, like the power snatch, power clean, hang snatch, hang clean. It's very interesting that the top level world-class sprinters, they are relatively strong in these movements. They can, for example, lift around 100-150 kilograms with a power clean. Okay, next training method which I also like to use is the contrast training. To make it simple, you use two exercises, one strength exercise like a heavy squat or deadlift or bench press with 80-90% of your 1 repetition maximum, and you do 1, 2, 4, 5 repetitions, and you superset this exercise with a body weight, light resistance, short sprint or jumping exercise. Or if we talk about the upper body, a mat ball throw or clap push-ups together with a bench press. And also it's worth to getting stronger in the trunk, in the core, because one of the function of this part of the body is to transfer the force and energies between the legs and the upper body. So in each complex movement, your whole body should work as a unit. And if the center is weak, you can leak some energy. Okay, the next method is doing the popular board games or martial arts. These are, of course, developing speed in a non-predictable way, because it's part of the game to move fast. After the board games and martial arts, many exercises from the acrobatics or even dancing you can use for speed development, because you also need to move quickly in these sports. Okay, the next fun method for speed development and reaction time development, and you have a coach or partner and he has a audio signal, like a beep, when you need to start your movement, but it's totally unpredictable, so you need to react fast as possible. One other interesting method to develop speed, if you improve your weak links. If you have some pain and stiffness, asymmetry in your body, if you recognize these weak links and improve them, aim for a structural muscle balance, and your whole body can work as a unit, and there is less energy leaking, and you can get faster with this method up to a certain level. About the structural balance, I mean, in an ideal case, we have a balanced strength in a pushing or pulling movements in the upper body. For some people, it's a very big asymmetry, so it's worth to balance out the pushing and pulling power. Or you can also think about the development or strength level of the upper body compared to the lower body. In some people there are huge differences, so if you bring them all into balance, then it will also benefit the speed performance. And one bonus method, if you optimize your body composition, you lose some fat, weight if it's necessary, because a lighter object is moving faster. As I mentioned in the beginning of this section, there are plenty of ways to develop strength, a lot of methods and exercises. For sure there is more. So feel free to comment below which one is missing, or what are your favorite speed development methods as a hobby or a pro athlete, which was working for you. Okay, a few more practical tips for speed development. How much should you train on a weekly basis? I always say that one is much better than nothing. So you can do once in a week, or even once every 2 weeks. It's very good for waking up the nervous system or maintaining speed in the long run. But if you have time for 2 or 3, you can progress faster, and probably you practice other kind of sports, so 2 or 3 is more than enough in a week, and it's don't have to be super long, only because of the long rest periods. But if you do 3, 4, 5 sets, you can make it in a 20-30 minutes period. In the speed training, it's important to practice relatively simple, familiar exercises where you don't have to focus too much on the technique, but you can have your full attention to the speed. The speed exercises require fresh nervous system and energy batteries, so it's always good to practice them after rest days, and always in the beginning of the training when you are fresh in the brain and in a muscle level. The speed exercises usually are very quick and short period of time, only 1-2 seconds up to 10-12 seconds. In this time period you use the ATP and the creatine phosphate energy systems, and if you have a high effort for a longer period of time, you start to burn more sugar using more the glycolysis, and it's not the best way to develop pure speed. So always make sure this ATP creatine phosphate, so-called anaerobic lactic energy pathways are regenerated before the next set. It means you should rest at least 3 to 5 minutes, or in some cases even 10-20 minutes if it was a longer maximal effort sprint or other speed exercise. Thanks for being here today. I hope I was inspiring you to bring out the lion that sleeps inside you, and you start doing speed training as well. And once you are close to your genetic potential, you try to maintain this skill lifelong. If you want to learn more about fitness, nutrition and other lifestyle factors, I recommend you to read my blog or watch my previous YouTube videos. I was writing also many books about these topics. Or if you want to progress faster and save years of reading, researching, trial, error, self-experimenting, then contact me for an online consultation, or let's work together on your goals for a few months as online coaching. If you enjoyed the video, then hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, comment below, and see you in the next one. Keep moving, stay strong, and stay fast.